So let's talk about Nutrition 101. There are a few things we need to know and review before discussing specific diet options for you when it comes to losing weight. One of these is what is food and what is nutrition. It might surprise you to hear that many people I've seen never have been properly educated about this, and you have to know those fundamentals before we get too fancy on the detail. So let's go right back to basics. All food is basically composed of one or more of the following things: water, proteins, which can come from plants like beans, nuts and grains, or animals, and are essential for our bodies. When eaten, proteins are broken down into amino acids that are used for almost every metabolic process in the body. The next is carbohydrates, or as some people call them, carbs. Now this is a form of energy in food, and it can range from simple carbohydrates like sugar to complex carbohydrates like starch, and indigestible forms like fiber. And these all act very differently on the body. The next is fats, which is another form of stored energy in food from plants and animals, and it can be artificially altered as well. Again, there are many types of fats and they're not all equal. Number 5 is vitamins, like vitamin C and vitamin B and all the others, which do very specific jobs and very important jobs in our body. Then we have minerals like iron and zinc, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, and these are the building blocks of many vital functions in our cells and between our cells. And there are a wide range of other things in foods which we call phytonutrients, like antioxidants, which are very good for us. Like there are a spectrum of carbohydrates from simple to complex, there are many types of proteins and there are many types of fats. So it's a bit silly to say all carbs are bad or all fats are bad, because there are good fats like olive oil and nuts, and there are bad fats like trans fats in biscuits and processed food. Often foods are thrown into one of these groups, like potatoes and carbs, but most foods are actually a combination of all of these things that I described before. For example, potatoes do have complex carbohydrates and fiber, but they also have protein and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and indeed a tiny bit of fat. But because they are mainly carbohydrates, people often oversimplify it, but don't be fooled by that. So each food has its own unique mix of these. Vegetables are often high in nutrients and minerals and antioxidants, but low in fat and low in carbohydrates, so they're low calorie. Remember, fat and carbohydrates is stored energy, which is represented in calories. That's why vegetables are so good for us, as they provide all the building blocks we need for good health without adding any of that extra calorie burden. Sure, sometimes we do need a bit of fat and a bit of carbohydrates because we need energy to stay alive. So, as always, it's a balance. It's really easy to Google a food and find out what it's made of, so I suggest you give it a go if you're interested, but I wouldn't stress about it too much. If you eat a balanced diet, then most people will get exactly what they need. There are, of course, exceptions. Some people need more of certain foods, which is where a health professional comes in to tailor exactly to your needs.